Hello, it's Chaplin 73, and I'm joined today by another great artist. Hello, Louise. How are you?
Hi, I'm very good, thank you.
If you
Really
could
nice to
start,
see you.
please, just by telling us who you are, what you do, and where you're from.
I'm Louise Bird, usually known, I sign my work as L Bird, and sometimes I'm Birdie for my money art. Originally from Birmingham, have moved around quite a lot. We moved to the Cotswolds, then we moved to Qatar in the Middle East for a while, which is very interesting. And now we're in Devon, Ilfracombe, Devon. And I don't think we're planning on moving again, not for a good while anyway.
A very similar journey to myself, apart
Every
from
time we've moved. Ah, right, okay. You're from the Midlands then?
I am. I'm from Redditch, just outside Birmingham. So
Oh my gosh, I know Redditch.
yeah, yeah.
I'm from
So
Moseley in Birmingham,
yeah. So I moved
proper
down.
Brummie.
Well, when I was very young, I moved down to Devon originally, and then to Cornwall, and I've spent the rest of my life in Cornwall. So yeah.
Nice.
It's nice
Yeah,
to move
beautiful
around and
past.
see different places, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Cotswolds is very beautiful.
Hmm.
Um, it was a great place to bring my children out. Really tiny little village, very idyllic. Uh, and then when we moved to Qatar, when we moved back to the UK, we thought we might move back to the Cotswolds, but so super expensive. And I've always wanted to live by the sea. I love the sea. We thought we'd retire to the sea. Um, and my husband, Tim, said, well, why don't we just do it now? You know, starting again anyway. Just move straight there. And I love
Fabulous.
it. Absolutely love it.
Fabulous. So what got you started in art then?
All my family were in the art business. My dad was a commercial artist. My mum was a painter. My cousin's an illustrator. My uncle's an architect. I mean, my sister's a cake decorator. My brother's a photographer. It's what we did. We were brought up in a creative environment, and it wasn't really, never thought about doing much else really.
Hmm.
Always painted and drawn everything, and so I didn't do A levels. I went straight and did a 2 year foundation course, which I loved. Absolutely brilliant. That was in Solihull. Fantastic course. Originally, I did want to go straight into painting, fine art, but my dad sort of encouraged me to do graphic design, and
Hmm.
I ended up compromising and doing illustration. And I did a degree at Wolverhampton Polytechnic, as it was then.
Yeah.
um, and after that, I was an illustrator for about a decade, um, mostly in advertising, some publishing work, a lot of advertising work. And then computers came along, and kind of everybody thought that they could use a bit of clip art instead. So business took a bit of a hammering. At the same time, I was starting a family, and my eldest daughter, my first daughter, um, was severely asthmatic right from the off. So she was in and out of hospital a lot, and so it wasn't compatible with me working.
Hmm.
So I was a stay-at-home mum for a long time, and then when I started back in art, I leaned more towards portraiture than illustration. Illustration, the deadlines were too difficult. Looking after my daughter, so yeah, I moved into portraiture. Painted a lot of dogs as well, a lot of grandchildren, a lot of dogs, that kind of thing. But continued with that. Then when we moved to Qatar, portraiture wasn't really a thing there. Um, so I started painting horses, Arabic horses, Arabian horses, beautiful, absolutely stunning creatures. And I also did a lot of work for the expats, you know, sort of kind of illustrative paintings, if you like, summing up their time abroad, you know, and it was an amalgamation of all their experiences in one big picture. And that was fun. So I did a lot of those. Then when we moved to Devon, I started again. So every time we've had a move, it's had an impact on what I do, really. And so I started again with the commission work, portraits, and doing lots of commission paintings, really. And I never did my own work. I always wanted to be a painter. I always wanted to paint my own stuff, but I didn't really know how to go about it, and never really felt, because I'd been in a commercial art space all of my life. I always thought time was very precious, and any time you have spent should be time doing a piece where you know you're going to make some money from it, you know, which is a horrible way to approach art. But that was the headspace I was in. Then I met Mark, my next door neighbour, Mark Bamber, who introduced me to money art. Never heard of it before, didn't know what it was. And he said, here you go, gave me $1. He said, see what you can do with that. And he's friends with Chris Boyle, who's, you know, big into the money art. And so I started doing that and really enjoyed it, and did quite a few money art pieces. Loved that, and loved the freedom it gave me creatively to be more expressive and to do my own thing. Moving on from that, then I thought, right, I like this. I like doing my own work. And they were selling as well, the money art pieces. I thought, right, I like this. So then I started painting my own bits and pieces, nudes mostly, because I was doing life drawing, not class, but a group, life drawing group that I joined. And I really enjoyed that. And I thought, right, okay, I should do more of this. I'm still doing the commissions, but moved into that. And then I was also looking after my mother, who we brought her down from Birmingham to Devon, and this was over about 6-7 years ago. And she wasn't too bad at that point. She was having a few falls and things, but she's in a bungalow at the back of my house. And then she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's over 5 years ago, and it's just got progressively worse, more difficult. And there came a point where it became really very difficult, and sort of hit me full on in the face, very emotionally. And I was in a bit of a bad space about it, you know. My girls were just leaving home. They were growing up, finding their feet, and yet I was looking after mum, who was becoming more and more helpless, to say, more childlike. She went through quite an aggressive phase, which was very difficult, because there's lots of phases to this, and you know, that was and it was very hard. So I thought, right, the only way I could deal with it was to paint it out. So I started painting these huge paintings of falling hands and feet. And it's really progressed from that. I then was part of an exhibition that Tracy Watt organised at the Crypt Gallery. And I showed, there were a lot of figurative artists there. Mason Storm was there, and lots of Kevin Gavin. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing all their names right, but anyway, was in that, and I thought, right, this is what I want to do. So my commission work has become smaller and smaller. my own work, what I want to paint has become more and more, because that's what I've been doing. I then managed to get an Arts Council grant, which was really helpful, because it stopped me feeling quite so guilty about making art that wasn't so commercial. And I know that's a weird thing to say, you shouldn't think like that about art, but because of the way I've been brought up, you know, that's how I always feel guilty if I'm making stuff that isn't going to sell. And most of my stuff isn't selling because the kind of thing it is.
I think sadly that is the truth for a lot of artists, really. You know, at the end of the day, you've got bills to pay, you've got, you've got
Yeah.
things that you've got to buy and things that you've got to do. And if your art's paying for that, you've got to do where the market, what the market demands, really. And you become a
Yeah.
slave to your art rather than have that nice freedom of just being able to paint what you like. My wife quite often says that to me. I've always been sort of like a hobby artist and sort of done it in my spare time and had a job that ran alongside it. So I've never really relied on my art to make my money. But she said, as soon as you take that step, you're gonna start disliking art. Did you find that?
No, I love it, but I think maybe because I've two reasons. I've done it when I'm older. I have always had to look after my daughter because of her illness. So going out and doing a normal job has been impossible for me, really. I've had a lot of my own health issues. My daughter, me, and now looking after mum prevents me from doing. So I have used my art as a commercial thing to earn money, but now I think I'm going to be 60 this year, and I think it's time that and luckily I've got a really, really supportive husband, an amazing husband, who has encouraged me to go for it with what I want to paint. And slowly, I'm getting recognition and some exhibition success with the work that I want to do. And how far that will take me, I don't know. But at the moment, I'm not thinking of it as a way to make money, because I've got to divorce the two, because I can't think. The minute I start thinking, oh, who's going to see this? Who's going to buy this? Who will like this? It'll just affect what I'm doing. So I've really been quite disciplined with, I've got to paint what I want to paint. And although that means, I have to, luckily the Arts Council grant was great, but that's finished now. Spent that, done that, used that for what they asked me to use it for, but I've done that. But now I really am sort of a little bit in limbo. It's a little bit scary, but I just hide in my studio and just carry on painting now. I just blinker from the world.
Sometimes the best way to be.
Yeah, it's the only way that I'm going to get any what I consider good work out of myself, instead of just commercial work. I mean, I still do commissions, and I love them. I still love that side, but I've definitely compartmentalized it, because commissions is great. It will afford me, our life to live, to buy more materials, to do the other work.
So the figurative work that you're doing at the moment.
We'll see. We'll see how long I do.
Yeah, the figurative work that you're doing at the moment, obviously, I see it online and I think it's fantastic, and the skill level is just phenomenal. Could you tell me who influenced your art, if anyone that you can think of?
Oh gosh, loads of people. I mean, I love Jenny Saville. Obviously, she's amazing, and I'm probably one of the last artists I know to be going to see her exhibition. I'm actually going this weekend. So because I had an operation over the summer, so I wasn't able to go out and do anything. So going to see her this weekend. So I can't wait, because I've always loved her. For a long time, when we lived in the Cotswolds. I went to Oxford to see, this is going to be, 15, 20 years ago, went to see an exhibition of her drawings in Oxford and was just blown away. I mean, she's just amazing. Love her. And she's a proper painter, and she was a painter when painting wasn't very fashionable. And she painted, and you've got to admire that. Love her. Of course, Lucian Freud, love him. All that Rembrandt, love him. Yeah, I mean, there's just tons. I do love people who paint people. I love landscapes too. I love landscapes, and I have tried, given where I live, I've really tried hard, because it's beautiful landscapes to paint here, and I just can't do it. I've really tried hard, but nothing I paint comes anywhere near to what I want it to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always painted people. Even when I was an illustrator, it was, mostly people I drew. That's just, apart from the brief blip of painting horses, which was, it's anything with eyes, really. But, yeah, anyway.
Fabulous. I mean, the two artists that you said there were two artists that I think of when I see your recent paintings. So,
thank you.
And Lucian Freud. Yeah. No, they are. I think your paintings are phenomenal, and I wish you every success with them, because just keep doing what you're doing, because it's brilliant. Where can people see your art?
Well, mostly on my website. I'm starting to, just this summer, I've started to make some progress with things. I've got an agent, Patricia Christie, agent, gallery person, and she's in Surrey, in London, Surrey. And then I'm with Anti-Cult in Germany, who's showing some of my work there. I was in an exhibition, the London Art Biennale, and Gagliardi Gallery on the King's Road has taken my piece there and is keeping it for a year, which is great, showing it and hopefully selling it at some point, but keeping it for a year there. I've just been in the Green and Stone open exhibition there with a painting of my mum. And I got in the Ruth Borchardt exhibition, the online exhibition, but that's the closest I've ever got to the Ruth Borchardt, which I was really pleased with, really proud of that, because that used to be the BP Portrait Artist Award, now it's Ruth Borchardt, and that's a great one to be in. But I haven't really, I think the next thing I need to do probably is put a collection together. I am sort of more or less there, but just a few more pieces. I always say this, few more pieces, and do a solo exhibition. And that's the next step, I think. And it's deciding where to do that, when, where, how much stuff I need. I've just got to be brave and just go for it. But I can't decide whether to do it in London, which is probably the most obvious choice, or perhaps try Bristol. I'm really interested in Bristol. My daughter's moved there, and it's a really creative place. It's a really interesting place, lots going on art-wise. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. Got to find a venue, got to find an affordable venue. But that's the next step, I think.
Brilliant, brilliant. And I think your pieces are probably pieces that need to be seen in the flesh rather than online.
Yeah, I think especially these ones at the back here, they don't show up as they don't come across as well online or in a photograph as they do in reality. And also the scale, you can't really, even though, I try and show scale, it's not the same as seeing something, in my hands and feet, falling ones, they're really big. And I think it's much more impactful when you see some, obviously, in reality, it's always different, isn't it?
Absolutely.
But,
I remember going to the Picasso Museum a few years ago. We went over on my honeymoon to Paris, and we went to the Picasso Museum
nice.
in Paris. And I remember seeing some of Picasso's work that I'd only ever seen in books or online, and I was blown
Yeah,
away by the scale. Some of the
yeah.
paintings were much larger than I thought they'd be, and some of them were
Mm.
so much smaller than I thought they'd be, which surprised
Yeah,
me.
yeah. That's that. I had that same feeling with Rembrandt. I saw one of his self-portraits. It was tiny. It was really small, but the
You don't expect
power
it,
of
do you?
it. But it was big. It was massive in its power. I mean, it
Yeah.
was amazing, so good, and that's just something else. That's just awesome. And then you'll get other huge paintings, and they don't have. You think some. I do think some people paint to look good, so pieces look better in a certain format and online, and I understand that because some artworks just don't come across as well, or they don't, they don't work well in the Instagram format and stuff, and it's like, oh, done all this work and it looks.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, seeing stuff in reality is very different. But as I said, was saying before, it's really hard to get places from where I live, go and see exhibitions regularly because everything's
Yeah.
so far away.
It's even
But
further from Cornwall.
we need a private jet, don't we, and
We
zoom
do,
about,
yeah.
or a helicopter.
I keep having this conversation with artist friends who do all the paint jams, and they all seem to
Yeah,
be north of Bristol. There's very
yeah,
few that are this side of Bristol, and I go to the one at Weston-super-Mare every year, but getting up to some of the places where they have these paint jams
yeah,
is just
yeah,
the cost that's involved, and the
yeah,
time and the resources that you have to put
yeah,
into it. Take a couple of days off work either side of the
yeah.
weekend, travel up,
That's
stay
it.
overnight,
Yeah,
pay for a hotel, pay for your
yeah.
fuel, which isn't cheap. It just all adds
Mm.
up, doesn't it? It's
Yeah, totally. I mean, I missed mind you, I couldn't have. I wasn't too well with this operation thing, but I missed every private view. I had a really successful summer getting in places, and then I didn't get to go to any of the private views, which is it's just super expensive to get the train to
mhm.
London from here, or
Yeah.
and driving, you're talking like 4 or 5 hours.
Mhm.
So then you have to stay over. You can't just pop there, go see to private view or go see an exhibition and pop back. But then we've chosen to live here, so it's that I wouldn't
Oh,
swap it.
absolutely,
I wouldn't.
absolutely.
I
I'm
just
the
take my
same.
dog out around the cliff, clear my head. Yeah.
I love living in Cornwall, and I wouldn't change it for the world. But it is a bit of a pain when you want to get somewhere. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
But
so
no.
I gather from your story that you've told so far that you've had a few personal issues. What have been your professional challenges regarding, doing what you want to do in art?
Yeah. Um, More it's sort of my own sort of confidence in my own stuff, really.
Hmm.
And I'm not very good at leaving my own studio. So I like the safety of my little world here, and just carry on painting and hope that somebody else will just take it away and do something with it. But I know life isn't like that, and I've got to do it myself. But I think that's my biggest barrier, is my own confidence in what I'm doing. As I say, I'm slowly getting better because of a bit more, interest. But it's a difficult one to overcome, that anybody else really wants to look at your stuff. And overcoming that really is my big barrier. And also, I have approached a few galleries, and they're all really kind, and they will give you advice and things, but it's taking that next step. And I'm my own worst enemy, I think, at the moment. I'm fine with commercial work. I can, I've always been very confident with that. And I used to, before the days of the internet and all the, computers, I used to trudge about every agency and publisher with a massive portfolio and just lay it out in front of them, which is what you had to do in the old days, show your work that way. And I've done loads of that, but I think because my own work is so personal to me, it's harder to put it out there in a way, because it means more. It's about me. It's not painting somebody else, and so that's more. It's more revealing, isn't it? It's more difficult.
Yeah, you feel more exposed.
I don't know. Yeah, and you don't want, exposing yourself like that and revealing yourself. You think, oh, somebody says, I'll cry. I won't, but thick-skinned.
Yeah, I think as an artist, a creative, you have to be quite thick-skinned, really. You're always going to get people say things that you might not want to hear, and you've just got to get on with it, haven't you?
Yeah. Of course. Yeah, totally. And
doesn't make it less difficult,
very good at bashing our heads against brick walls, and then eventually one of them will force through.
Yeah, absolutely.
But absolutely. No, I wouldn't change it.
So what are your plans for the future?
Oh gosh, keep going, keep painting. I'd like to paint bigger, so create more space for myself. But obviously the main thing is doing a solo exhibition, and just keep plodding away at it, and just keep going. I haven't got any massive plans. My world is looking after my mum, along with my brother. We're both carers for her, and that takes up the time it takes. And just keep going. Keep going. I haven't got a plan. I've never had a plan. Stuff happens, and you just go with the flow. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. We'll see. Stuff turns up, doesn't it? I never thought, from meeting Mark next door and doing the money art, that I'd end up in some weird way doing this now. It's just one of those things. So I have to thank you, Mark. But
brilliant. Brilliant. Are you still doing the money art?
No, not really. It kind of they stopped selling, and now I'm not supposed to do it for money, but they just sort of, I don't know, it came to a bit of a halt. I do the occasional one, and I certainly do them as gifts. I give quite a bit of money, I'll do them as presents because I think they're nice, fun thing to have. But I haven't done that much recently. I think for me, it kind of almost, it sort of, maybe it was me that stopped doing it, why it stopped, I don't know. But, I think maybe I've just moved into different things, but I do really enjoy it still. I'll still do the odd one every now and then.
I
This
did
is
a couple of
fun.
pieces. I did a couple of pieces myself a few years ago, and I know there was a lot of it around on the internet for quite a while, wasn't there? And then it just seems to,
Mm.
like you say, it
Yeah,
just seems to you don't see it so much
yeah.
nowadays.
Just stopped. Yeah.
Mm.
It was like a big craze, and everybody, there were loads of collectors out there. I mean, I remember putting a piece, I'd just drawn it up, put it on, I thought, oh, I'll just bung it on now, put it on the computer, the whatever social media thing. And literally, I just went to make a cup of tea and it sold. It's like mental. And they were going that quick, really being snapped up. And it was like a massive deal for a while. I know some people are still having success with it, but yeah, it sort of stopped for me quite abruptly, I think. I
Hmm.
don't
Yeah,
know what happened, but yeah. Hmm.
I suppose things just go through phases, don't they?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's crazy. Yeah.
And you look at art
Mm.
history, you look at all the different movements and phases that
Yeah,
art's gone through. It's like
exactly. Yeah, yeah, definitely. I'm just glad that painting and figurative painting seems to have had a bit of a resurgence and seems more interesting to people. It's
yeah,
always been, it's not always been the most popular figurative work, but it seems to be quite interesting to people again now. Um, whereas it was a bit of a dodo for a little while.
yeah, it did seem to
So
be, didn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, yeah.
Well,
Mm.
thank you for chatting with me today. The our time's ticking by now,
Oh,
so
it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
yeah, yeah, I found it a pleasure too. I always find it a pleasure talking to artists and listening to their stories and things, and hearing what's brought them to where they are
I'll
today.
enjoy looking it back and see what I said.
Yeah, a lot of people are like that too. They can't remember what they've said, but that's absolutely fine. Thank you for chatting with me and taking some time out of your day. I appreciate, your time is precious, and when you could be painting, you're here chatting to me, but that's absolutely great. Been lovely to talk to you, Louise, and I wish you all the best. And I
No, I
look
really
forward to
enjoyed
seeing
it. Thank you so much. And
and I look forward to seeing that solo exhibition sometime soon.
excellent. And I shall send you
Thank
the
you.
invite.
Thank you.
Thank you very
And
much.
if you like
Bye.
what you've heard today and what you've seen today, then please hit the subscribe button and subscribe to my channel, where I will be interviewing more creatives in the near future. Thank you very much.